Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's virtual cafe. We are One United. Um, that is our name, and we were founded in 2020. I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. We are currently working in the Coachella Valley and Inland Empire to support the underserved communities and also provide resources so that people can get jobs or access to technology and services, ultimately to promote a flourishing community. So, we have been doing that through virtual cafes. Here's our mission statement, um, as well as other events. So, today we have Dawn McCoy, also known as Dawn McJoy. Love that. And she is a founder and CEO of the Red Shoe Project, Inc. In Redlands, which is a mental and emotional health services nonprofit. She is a mental health strategist who helps you discover more confidence and joy with mental and emotional health challenges. Dawn likes to advocate for those who have been hurt by trauma and pain due to suicide or thoughts of prolonged addiction, abuse, domestic violence, or human trafficking, and those affected by the recent pandemic. We can get her information out later on, but Dawn, if you'd like to present more about yourself or, be more lengthy in your introduction, feel free. But some etiquette for the cafe. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free. You are more than welcome to ask your question. If Dawn or someone else is talking, if you'd like to raise your hand, that way we know to call on you. And then, of course, if you're not comfortable with asking it through the microphone or with your video on, you can always put it in the chat. And then here is our information if you guys would like to connect with us or follow us for further virtual cafes or events. We have a lot coming up. So I will turn this off and then leave it to Dawn.
Can you all see me?
I don't know.
Is my head cut off? I'm working on it. Okay. This area where I'm working in is my space. I had to improvise. So welcome to my life. My name is Dawn McCoy. I work and live and eat and breathe nonprofit. Okay. I don't know if you guys know that life, but I do. And nonprofit world is extremely difficult to explain. You just got to do it and get into it. My main goal and main focus is to bring confidence and more joy with mental and emotional health challenges that you see and face. Recent pandemic, I'm just going to let it go at an angle. Sorry, you're going to have to deal with a double chin. I'm okay with it. It's fine. I'm 44. I'm secure in who I am. I decided to open a nonprofit in 2011. I was a divorced woman, single now at age 30, trying to figure it out with all these degrees. I went sole prop for a minute, became a life coach because 2008 and 9, that was very, very popular. I have all these degrees, and so I was a huge liability to any therapist, group, church liability as well, because they didn't want to bring behavioral science into the church. They wanted to refer it out. Next thing you know, I'm starting to realize that things do better when you allow God to figure it out for you. And one of the biggest blessings I was allowed to learn was you have to do it your own pace. And so when you start to learn that God is good all the time, and you do know that if he is, you can really have the dreams that you want. I'm having dysfunctions all around me. If you see a cat fly by, humor me. They are my therapy animals. We're going through a big issue in my family. My dad's in the hospital. So we all feel things in the home, including my animals. So embrace them all. They'll probably scream for a minute and cause chaos. That's the way of the world, but the way of the spirit and the body and the mind can be under control. It's part of the fruits of the spirit. If you guys can remember the fruits of the spirit, the way I do things with my clients, very easy. I do all the work. You just sit back and listen. I make all the notes. If you need it, I'll email it to you. I say it every day on the regular. I can text it to you. You can text me. I put in the chat my information. I think if you guys received it, if not, I'll make sure you get it. You can check out my website. You can surf the net while we're talking. Go to rspi.org. And I believe that is now all updated. If you do decide you want to give to this kind of organization on behalf of believing in mental and emotional health care, you can. Okay, so today I've been asked to speak about how I am grateful, or things to be grateful for in the middle of chaos, mental and emotional health. With the recent pandemic, I do believe that we have a new wave of mental illness. I do believe that there's a new thing called COVID brain. I do believe that there is something that is bigger than us that understands that mental health is essential. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this big fat brain, right? So I'm an interactive kind of soul. So would you guys work with me here? Okay. Do me a favor. We're going to start off by understanding the mind, body, spirit pattern. So we're going to first start with the mind. So one of the things that God helped me understand is when I'm in trauma or pain or PTSD, or I get nervous. Okay. I wear the t-shirts. I told the other girls that I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It says, "It's a beautiful day to save lives." Well, that's Grey's Anatomy's way of thinking, but that's also mine too. I've always been that person. And so I grabbed a sweatshirt today because I'm trying to work on keeping my own mindset positive with all the recent things that I've been shoved into since 2019. Here's how we do it. God told me, he said, "Dawn, you're an overthinker." I was like, yeah, and most bosses are. Most people who have jobs in the outside world also have an inside job, which is a caregiver, which is an entrepreneur, which is a women's Bible study group leader, or a men's group support group, AANA, all those sober living. You're a leader there. So God makes us think and allows us to think and be visionaries. Well, that gets a little overwhelming. So then we just spin and spin and spin. And in behavioral science, that would be called spinning. And that's a term of flapping when it comes to a child with ADD, ADHD, or behavioral science world. That would be somebody who had autism. Okay. So our bodies internalize that. So we have to make mention and recognize. So how we do that? Why would God give us this big fat brain if it wasn't supposed to be used? So whatever prominent hand you are, you're going to heal yourself right now. And I want you to learn this tactic saves lives. It does, because it helps you redirect and put you back into motion. So we're going to start off by being healers right now in the first 11 minutes. Are you ready? I want you to put your prominent hand on your head. Mine's a right. I'm a righty. Okay. Okay. And I want you to take your other hand and put it on your heart. Mine's a lefty. Now I want you to say this. I know that I know that I know that I am not crazy.
I know
Say
that
it.
I
That I know I'm not crazy.
And then your hand, oh, there goes the cat. But it sure feels like I am.
But it sure feels like I am.
Now listen, that's tapping into your mind, yet speaking from the heart And using what? This big fat mouth in between. You have now used three things all in one sentence: your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? And the Bible says, out of the mouth, your heart will speak. And I think that's the most beautiful way to open up this cafe. Okay, so do you have your coffee cups? Does everybody have your security blanket coffee cups? Because if you look at my media, yeah, there's the Yeti. There it is. All right. This is what I want you to know. If you see my videos, this is my security blanket. I have nervous energy. So one of the best ways for me to check into my body now is that I know that I'm not crazy. Yet I sure feel like I am. So God said, put a boundary between you and it, meaning you and the media, you and your person, you and your client, you and your husband, you and your girlfriend, you and your best friend, you and your cats. Did you see one of them jump up behind me? It's because we're doing spirit work. My animals understand spirit work. Okay. And your family and friends also understand spirit work. That's why you're here today. So, mind, body, spirit. This is my coffee cup. Everybody raise your cups one more time. Cheers, dude. It's Wednesday. We're about to kick off the rest of the week. Thank you for attending tonight. I love the one with the wings. I love it. All the individuality that brings me joy in my mental and emotional health challenge that's outside the door there. You know what I mean? So here we are, to know thyself. Okay, I've got 21 minutes to get through this, and I set my timer like a boss babe does. Did you do that too? Let's set this timer. We got a family to feed. We got cats to feed. We've got litter boxes to get rid of. You know, we got stuff. Okay. So mindset, to know thyself. We are going to start making these type of statements these days. COVID told us we didn't know what was going on. But we have a God that says, oh, but I do. So how do we do this? We don't play around with our words. Because out of the mind, and the heart, the mouth will speak. We don't play around with our words. So we start with what we know, which is I am statements. Ready? I am, well, my campaigning says I am loved. Okay, that's pretty bland, but love in the Bible is patient, it's kind, it's gentle, it's not self-seeking, doesn't keep records of wrongs. Like I could go on for days about what love is. Well, I am an introvert. No way, no way. I'm crazy bonkers nuts on the internet and out there in the public, but when I'm home, I never match, you know, I forget to do the laundry several days in a row. I never make my bed. These are things that introverts do to regain strength. And I believe that Jesus Christ had a mindset of an introvert that said, go into the quiet behind closed doors and go behind the door. And what? Talk to my Father. Yeah, and say my name. So I am a Christian. Okay, that's basic. That's fun. That can go into different conversations. Or I am okay today. You see, at Red Shoe Project, what we do is we do the temporary, although with a longevity in mind. We teach cognitive, behavioral techniques. Okay, well, that's not going to cut just, you know, your diagnoses. Okay, but what comes alongside that is I am statements, teaching you a direction on I am a grad student twice over. Now, I used to say I am divorced. Oh, Debbie Downer. My dad, even just recently, I've been divorced for 15 years. Okay, my dad recently comes up to me and he goes, why did you tell that man you're divorced? Oh, shoot. Out of the mouth, the heart will speak. That means I must be lonely. Oh, now we're overanalyzing it. Now we're starting to do these things. Then the fear comes up. So now we're going to look at fact over fear. This is the mindset, okay? So we're going to go, I am statements. I am fun. I am scared. Okay, that's the fear. I am, I'm a poet. I'm a scaredy cat. I'm afraid of heights. I haven't dated in like 10 years. I'm afraid. then the fear, then the weird fear, then like, should I go back to college? Should I become a doctor? I have all these degrees. I might as well just go write a book. Never mind. All the fears come up, overthinking. Okay. So remember that we are chosen. And I want you to remember this word. We are chosen. In a cafe style like this, we are choosing to be here. Okay. We could be going to pizza, or we could be doing a networking meeting somewhere down the line. We can go join another, group, a photography group. We can be taking Instagram photos. We can be taking Instagram photos and selfies and TikToks of our cats and our animals and our babies. But instead, we decided to be chosen to listen to some girl named McJoy. What does she have to offer? What she has to offer is wisdom in the fact that we have fruits of the Spirit that are already in us. And in the mindset, we believe that we can be love, we can be joy, we can be peace, we can be patience. In the moment, we can be kindness, we can be goodness, we can be faith, or we have faith. We are, oh, wait a minute, we are gentleness. Oh, here we go. We are what? Self-control. In the Bible talks about self-control as a long sufferer, burden bearer. Who in this cafe is a burden bearer? Like 10 times over, man. Like, how many businesses are you running? How many kids are you raising? How many grandkids do you raise because your kids aren't raising them? How many drug addicts do you have in your family? How many drug addicts did you date? How many drug addicts did you actually think you could change? Oh, wait. And then which addiction did you pick up in the middle of all that? You know what I mean? And so at 44, I've survived cancer. And the reason why I got cancer, and I firmly believe it, is that the Lord told me, your mindset is off, Dawn girl. And so when it became, I'm a pastor and a therapist, yet I was two and not one. I was a divided individual. Split mind, forked tongue is what the Bible talks about. And he will not accept you. You're either hot or cold. You're not lukewarm. And so the mindset became, I didn't believe I was chosen for the calling that he gave me for Red Shoe, which is to love thy neighbor as thyself. I wasn't loving thyself. And so Red Shoe started with the premise to walk in love and talk about my family legacy of, going out in style, and Dorothy, red shoes, click your heels. There's no place like home. You're right, there isn't. That's why I never moved out of Redlands, man. I stayed in my city because Redlands, Inland Empire, John Epps, people like you are there kicking butt in the industries that I have no idea what there is now. I am old. I did college with no internet at all. I had FedEx barely and Kinko's barely open at midnight to do my thesis papers. I was going through a divorce on my second master's degree to become a pastor. Rabbis were praying over me for healing, taught me hands-on healing. And finally, when God said, at the age of 40, when you're going to have cancer and really figure out what healing is, he told me this. He said, the issue is you're not tuning in to what you hear, feel, and see and sense. You see, my light busted out like 5 seconds before I really started getting into this. I think there's a reason for that. I think my God understands me so well. He knows every hair on my head. So when it comes to mental and emotional health challenges, I think I can present them to him as well. These lights, too bright in here. The sound in this room, too much COVID information, too much on the television. I gotta just choose to say no right now. And Red Shoe does that. What happens is, instead of taking short-term, long-term goals, we look at your short-term goals and give you a plan to move you into the next step, which is, what am I feeling? Oh, wow. I don't want to talk about feelings. Well, why did you hire me then? You see, when you're coaches, people come to you for guidance. Why did they come to you? Change the why to what. What is it about today They called you to me. You see, use the words that you want them to mirror. You see, loving people is getting to know them. Then speak alongside them. You see, not at them, over them, under them, holding your stuff back, holding their stuff back, enabling, but loving them with their symptomology of depression. I get that, girl. You want a burrito? No, I'm still trying to lose 15 pounds. I get that, friend. You want to go to coffee? No, I actually can't stand. I'm germaphobe now. I don't enjoy any of this COVID world, so I choose not to go out. Okay, well, maybe I can bring you a coffee instead. How about that? No, I don't really want anybody at my house. I love how people give excuses. And so to me, excuses are nothing but tells. They tell me the language of their heart. Anybody heard of the love languages? I got 12 minutes to describe them real quick. Acts of service, be a person of your word. Gifts, give lovely gifts. Maybe that's not somebody's love language. You give them a gift, right? What is it? Words of affirmation, gratitude. I am grateful for the body that I have. Okay, words of affirmation, things like that. Moments of limitation to being grateful too, because it's really hard to be grateful right now for things. So then I just turn it personal and go, I am grateful that my hair grew back after having COVID twice. Like, I'm grateful I still have a dentist that wants to work on my teeth. I'm grateful that my grocery store still has water that I can go and buy. Or toilet paper, remember that? That mentally twerks you, okay? And so to take and decompress that, I want to teach you another skill. So we did the, I know that I'm not crazy, sure feels like it. So let's teach you a skill called tapping to tune into now what? The body. We start like this. Everybody, we got 11 minutes, ready? Here we go. And you're just gonna do this like when you're stressed out and you're like, I know Dawn is crazy and she's doing it and something must be working. So we're gonna do it, ready? We're just gonna say the same kind of things like, I am so exhausted. I know that I need a nap. It's 6 o'clock, yeah? Now let's move it up to here. What we're doing is we're opening up the meridians in our body, the right brain, left brain, okay? I know that my brain is very well equipped to handle this day. Yeah? I can see the finish line to my agenda. My phone, I can see that too. At this moment, it's blowing up. It gives me anxiety when I'm in the middle of a cafe virtual lifestyle and my phone blows up. I really want to answer that telephone. So, because I might be missing something in my agenda. I will not allow this to sit on my body. Heck no, I'm not ready to do that. I'm going to tell my body to put it aside. I am completely equipped for this, right? My vision is clear. My God gives me the words and the strength to open the eyes of my heart. My mouth will speak of grateful things this season, before 2023. Everything that I do is done with the strength of the Lord. And I am fearfully and wonderfully made. All right, now I see a lot of smiles in there, and that looks rad to me. All that is a bunch of joy, okay? And that brings me joy too, okay? Because what happens is my love language is acts of service. You all showed up, okay? On time, ready for this thing, okay? That's the point. And then my second love language, because we need all five, by the way. My second love language is quality time. You spent almost 30 minutes of quality time with a crazy stranger in Yucaipa, California from a Zoomie, And you laugh at me and laugh with me and talk with me as innocent children do with trust. Do you know how hard that is these days to have trust? Welcome. I love the doorbell sound. That helps me. Now let's do the last one. Let's learn to laugh. Now, what is something that you can do to laugh? Now we're tuning now into the spirit. Okay, mind, body, now spirit. My spirit laughs. Now I made a posting. I just put it up on my Facebook for Red Shoe on Facebook, but it's on TikTok, and then it's also on my Insta. Okay. What it says is name something, like Steve Harvey, he says, name something that brings you joy. And I just have a plethora of all these things that bring me, joy and happiness. Pizza, PJ pants, positive colleagues. I really value my colleagues and nonprofit besties, because nonprofit world is ruthless, man. It's competitive, and I am not a competitor. I don't like competitive sports ever. I like to go to them and support the cute outfits and all that stuff. But I do not participate in competitive sports. When it comes to mental health, I'm top dog, dude. I'm at the top now, because all of the other centers are overflowing with ill people. And when people come to me or come to us now, they're looking for training, they're looking for guidance. And so our perseverance to make us laugh is essential tonight. Watch the cat videos. Watch not the news before you go to bed, but maybe listen to Creflo Dollar or Joyce Myers or Beth Moore or Lisa Turkhurst. There's millions and millions of ways to connect. Call a friend. Send a text to a friend. Be like, dude, I found this cat video totally reminded me of you. Send. Random acts of kindness at this time make people heal. And now is your chance to do what I believe is my tagline since the beginning of Red Shoe. I didn't know how it was going to come about, but sure do today. Tagline, let's help heal and grow our community. Basic tagline. You know what I mean? But then you tag it on with a branding, okay? In 6 minutes or less, I am going to tell you how to start your business properly every single day. It's by these 5 things. It's called high five. You have 5 fingers, right? So it's easy to remember. This is our God. He's very, very calculated. Remember, he knows the fingerprints. He knows our hairs. So you think he knows our businesses too and our nonprofits too? He sure does. This is how he does it. This is 5 steps. Now, this is not from me. This was trained. I'll give you that info if you ever need it. A guy named Mark Mays. This is how it goes. Ready? Number 1, operations. You have to take a look at all of your operations, even in your personal life, my friends. Toilet paper, finances, toilet paper, did the bills get paid, a calendar, cat litter, dog food, groceries. That's your operations. If those are off, your business on the other side is going to be off too. Finances, take a look at when your bills are due. Are they due? When they're due? Calendar, put it in your phone. That brings me joy to see and hear your phones light up because, my agenda just told me I need to. Moments of gratefulness start with agendas. Okay. Next one, sales. Now, not just sales of your business, sales of your ministry, sales of your color. My favorite color is yellow, not red. You know what I mean? Sales of you, mixed yellow and red together. So I've been doing that. The two go together. Come to find out, the primary colors really do speak volumes when it comes to marketing. So moving into now number 4, marketing. Marketing is the actual thing that you're selling. I am selling a red shoe, okay? And of course, I have a million red shoes, right? You got a business, you got a ministry, you're going to wear that color most of the time, right? Yes, I went to the Jesus sandals movement. I wore these in the 90s. This brings me joy. This is laughter to me. This is me going to Disneyland and Birkenstocks. Okay, God told me it's okay to brand yourself and sell it with the act of love behind it. All right, next one would be growth development. Everybody wants to grow right now. In 3 minutes and 33 seconds, I'll tell you how to grow. Not by the things above, but on things here from above. Servanthood leadership. Ever heard of it? Or servant leadership? Okay. Servanthood is a thing. It's not a hood, but it's a belonging, a group, a branding. Okay. It's a covering of something bigger. Okay, so what we do is we take the growth development and we start to look at every piece apart on what we get to do, which is to lead in our friends. Maybe you're the follower. Maybe you need to step up and start washing the dishes at family functions. That's the way I escape when the family gets a little much during the holidays. My mental health challenge is ADD, ADHD. How can I serve? How can I serve? How can I get out of the weird conversations? So I take my trusty cup and I go wash it in the sink. Do you see that? Oh, I need another cup of decaf coffee. Do you understand? Addicts and things, previous addicts would go and do a smoke break. Maybe you still smoke. Sometimes that's considered mental health. But what do you do when you don't have those addictions anymore? You figure out a different way. Remember, Dawn taught you, I know that I'm not crazy. Sure feels like I am. So let's acknowledge it, mind, body, spirit. I know that the situation in this room is too heavy for me. So I need to figure out how to laugh. Let's grab my phone and look at a TikTok or two and listen to what my God is trying to tell me. Maybe he's trying to say, greater is he that is in me or you than us that's just in that big fat world right now. So when you come to me, I want you to realize that when you start to become creatives, this is a creative moment. This is a movement I have always wanted. And John and I always talked about doing this very movement, virtually affecting people in a short amount of time. So I am answering my own prayer and my own vision that that's what I wanted, to help heal and grow the community. And the best way I know how is to run it with that high five thinking. My operations at home had to handle my father and my mother in the situation with my personal life, feed my kitties, feed myself, do some marketing for Red Shoe, sit down at 2 p.m. and really make some notes today for you. Pray and meditate, get a drink of water, had a little piece of chocolate before I've met you today, went potty, blew my nose, and sat here for you. I do the preparing before I get to anybody I speak to. I anoint myself with oils. I do this when I'm stressed out, when I have chest pains from anxiety, from COVID. I do the tapping and ask the Lord to help me sing. So if you'll give me a few more seconds of your time, can I teach you one last way to heal your own body? Yes? Okay. So I had cancer of the thyroid. You can kind of see my scar. There's like a little skin tag here, but there's this little scar here. This is 3 years. Normal people at 3 years this time, their scars haven't healed this well. I believe that's the God that we serve. I asked him, what are you going to do with this weird, flabby, funky body? Because I was almost 200 pounds. I am 116 pounds, sometimes 120. And it was hard for me to go from one size to another. And I asked God, what do you want me to do with this? You know, weird skin, then it starts to kind of get back because I'm anointing myself with oils and doing what God asked, which was, you're not crazy, so apply what you know and learn what your behavior does to your spirit. I became my own client years ago. That's why I designed Red Shoe. Then I couldn't talk from thyroid surgery for months. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't think I can speak. I was very weak in my mind. Yet my body was sitting here telling me, yes, you can, but what are you doing? You're not applying the tools that you have right now. So anybody ever get like nervous and start coughing or get a runny nose, or when you need to speak, or you get like a little jittery and you feel like you need to either vomit or you feel like your tummy hurts, all of a sudden you're like, I ate breakfast. Oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Wait, I always eat that. What's wrong? You super question yourself and overanalyze. That's the beautiful mind, okay? I call it the beautiful mind because the gift of memory is so important to keep you in the moment of temperance and discernment. Temperance is a tempo of the life, and discernment is the oh no, okay, oh no, okay. So here's how you do it. Now, anybody get the hiccups too? Hiccups the thing, a cough, a weird nervous cough because of stupid COVID. We say because of COVID, and we say all kinds of funny things. What happens is our body puts it somewhere, but we say, I'm good. Girl, I'm good. And we're coughing in the middle of some like speaking engagement, which will probably happen to me very soon. I've been struggling and struggling. And I went to a Christmas party and this lady comes up to me, sweet little friend, and she goes, Dawn, you get your voice back. What's wrong with you? And I was like, what do you mean? She's a speech pathologist on the side. I was like, okay, cool, what? And she goes, watch. She comes up behind me, this lovely lady with these beautiful fingers and just sticks them around my neck. It's like intrusive, especially if you're a victim of abuse. You don't want anybody coming up behind you like that, okay? And I don't advise you do this. This is what I want you to do just for you. No matter what age you are, my dad is 81, okay? He does it. My mother, 73, she does it. My favorite type of work is senior care for a reason. All you got to do is hold a senior's hand and they know the warmth of your spirit. Okay? A lovely lady going through cancer, just touch her hand. They know your spirit. They know. Okay? So here's what you do for you. You ready? Under here, men have an Adam's apple right here, I think. Then there's a, wow, they do. I don't. And then we have the voice box. So if you can feel the voice box kind of hum a little bit. Go just above that where you think you have a double chin. Here's your chin. It's just this little muscle right under here. And it feels like knots. You're like, oh no, I'm sick. You're not. Your glands are swollen from all the day's stress, from the swallowing, the drinking, the tapping, the thinking, the overthinking, the coffee breaks, the non-coffee breaks. So what I want you to do is just touch it real lightly. You don't even have to go very far or very hard. Take a deep breath. Just hold it. Swallow. And let go. Now, you tell me you didn't feel that and you're like here, right here. Something calms down between here and here. Gee, I wonder why. You're no longer trapped with the things you want to say. You are now at ease to say things if you want to. If not, it is a reboot or re-system reboot, like a computer, for your body. One last thing, these crazy muscles right here. The vagus nerve is right behind your right ear. It triggers. It has been triggered for years and years from your pain, your anxiety, the pressure from work, your retirement, the things that you're thinking or looking forward to, the things that you're in the middle of. So what you do is you grab this muscle behind here, turn your chin the opposite direction and look up. If you get the sense to yawn or swallow or clear your throat, you're doing it right. If not, no problem. It's just a little tighter. Look down at your shoulder and come back straight. Do it on the other side. You got to even out both sides. You see, the body has two sides. Remember that. So here, turn your chin the opposite shoulder. Look up to the corner and down and back to center. Take a deep breath. I don't know what happens, but there is something to be said for hands-on healing. And you, my friends, did a lot of things in a short amount of time to heal yourself now, in the now. So how to have gratitude? I feel grateful that we have this kind of power. I feel alive knowing that several people in this group just did something based off of faith. You see, we have faith that people see us. Well, I get to look at this thing and look at my glam, but when this camera is off, look at, all you see is perfectness, right? But the real me is here. You see me. I don't see me out in the world. So when we reflect the things that we're doing inwardly at home, people will see a difference. And I really appreciate the time. So if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me, if you feel like you need to say anything, you want to do some controversy, ask me weird questions, ask me anything personal, I will talk to you. It's totally open. Thank you for letting me talk.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. And if anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to shout them out or drop them in the chat if you don't want to speak via the microphone. But yeah, that was really fun.
That's good. So that was helpful. I'm an educator, okay? And so I feel like if I don't share something like that, then I didn't do my job right.
Mhm.
And the community really asks me to do this now. They used to not, okay? And they used to be like, okay, she's crazy, she's weird. And mental health was not popular, okay? It's super trendy now. And young, old, doesn't matter. At age 2, people now will know what mental health is. And people in your 90s, they still have always been talking about how we have to mentally and emotionally take care of ourselves. The best way to do that is by understanding the rituals and traditional values that we were raised with. We need to remember those things when we were raised with good and bad choices and where they lead. And so I'm just a reminder of that and what we can undo. I started a radio show called When We Come Undone. And it did 16 episodes, so I'm open to doing it again somewhere. I'm shopping for radio stations and podcasting places right now. So the concept, I had never done radio before, but boy, I love it. It's my new favorite job. If you want to get into it, I highly recommend it. It inspires you because you didn't know that people actually want to come and talk about their things that they do in the community until you present it. And so virtual cafes are a super way to do that because it gets the word out faster. It's better branding, better marketing. I don't have to put out a bunch of emails nor send out mailers to inform you of things of change. So if I change, if I'm moving into a lifestyle where I think WAOU deserves credit for the type of work it does, but I believe that God asked me to step up and say, Don, you are the same equal value. So I'll be branding myself a little bit better, I think, as the Don McJoy, because why not? It's a better gifting, joy. For years, it's been love, love, love. Well, love what? The joy of life. And so I was like, fine, it just fits with my last name. And if you ever wanted to know, I'm an only child, overachiever. I have a lot of degrees, and you are all my brothers and sisters. And you're teaching me what it's like to be an introvert in a very big world. So, yeah. Do you have a question, Augustine?
Yes. Yeah, I was just surprised by one thing you said, and I've never really thought about it. Why is the nonprofit world so competitive? I've never felt that the nonprofit world be that competitive. I've always associated competitiveness with corporations, universities, like professors and all the bad things that go on in the university because of the publish or perish situation. But nonprofits, the very word nonprofit, I have never really thought about it as being competitive. So what are some of the reasons you think?
Okay, so nonprofit is popular. There's especially recently, but when I started in 2008 and 9, the concept of nonprofit, where I decided to open it up was in Redlands. Okay, and Redlands is known for a lot. It's speckled with nonprofit world. And so starting one with no support was very, very intimidating. For a person who doesn't know business, I was a trained therapist and a pastor. Trying to get advice from business people in 2008 and 2009, we were going through a recession. So I moved it in thinking that I'll just move it for another year or two and work a side hustle job. When I started looking at nonprofit life, I didn't know anyone and I was very young. And I think there's a lot of us out there that we don't know anyone and we're young in the industry. We've run businesses before. Corporations, I'm a corporation. I'm Red Shoe Project Incorporated. I decided to do that. And when you do a nonprofit, it behooves you to turn it into a corporation due to the fact of it keeps better records, as well as business ethics and law in California. It could be very different where you are. I think you're in California. You have a longevity. You have an age that I didn't have. In my early 30s, pipsqueak, just being a therapist, coming underneath the rocks of divorce. I didn't like men very much. A lot of women run nonprofits and we're intimidated by a man, even in the business sector. And so it was a very hard thing to admit that high society, I had to learn what to do with the speaking of that. I think a lot of people in this industry don't realize that taking account to your receipts, even not just personal receipts, but business expenses, that gets very overwhelming, especially to a person who is not a math prone person. We just want to save the world. And mental health was hard enough to promote. I do believe that all the other nonprofits that I was up against had already had the funding for the year. So then it's hard to find somebody because they tell you you need to write grants. I've gone to several people. They said they were going to help me write grants. I think this happens a lot. People go to say, can you be my grant writer? And they don't follow through. Admin volunteers, they don't stay on staff long enough to establish some of the business ethics that a nonprofit needs to sustain itself. So I've seen a lot of that underground. That doesn't mean that nonprofit isn't beautiful, but it is competitive to keep a good admin person, keep you straight, to keep a good CPA and a good bookkeeper, to keep your books straight monthly, and to keep up with your 990s 100% of the time. It's not every other year. How to make sure that you keep track of your marketing, where you're doing your emails, all of that is very intimidating for a nonprofit owner. So not for the people that run the nonprofit, but for the actual ED. If an ED knows anything and they're hired in from a different nonprofit, then it's just another group they're helping. But starting from grassroots, you have to be completely educated. And I think it takes time. And so the competitiveness is we're not going fast enough. And that's where I find where people fall off after year 5. So that's just something I've seen. It's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's always the case. Does that answer your question? Yeah. I mean, I could go on for days on how I don't like certain ethics and law about nonprofits, but I could also go on for days about how I absolutely love how nonprofits have taught me how to feed a homeless person properly, or how to bathe them in trailers, and how to feed people the gospel just by giving a sandwich in a bag, and to encourage that, or just to be around entertainers. I'm a huge fan of the Hollywood entertainment and lifestyle. A lot of my crazies out there have gone suicidal. And when they became suicidal, they came to me. And so the extra off hours, the pro bono work, that's very difficult for a professional like me who could be making a lot of money to be told that you could be making a lot of money, Dawn. You could be making to choose to not take a lot of money and save our lives around our community. I take that extremely serious. And so nonprofit work is not for the weak, it's for the meek. The word is meek, which is kind.
Mhm.
Mhm. Any other questions? I love all these names. These are rare names.
Hi, Don. I'm
Hi.
Diane.
Ah,
And I'd like for you to go back over when you were talking about that split mind being pastor, and how did you bring the peace and gathering to be that one person?
okay, great word. Okay, I'm a vocab chick. Okay, ready? The word is integration. Okay, and another big word, epistemology. Epistemology means where my source of truth comes from. Okay, so in my 20s, I've been a Christian pretty much since I was like, I don't know, well, born and raised 2 days later in the church. Okay, great, baptized, all that stuff. But then, like age 5, singing on the stage and being fun with your creative souls at the church and whatever's. But then you get older, and then you start to go to college, and you start to like hear different vibes, and you start to understand that you get questionable, and you start doing some kind of different things in your life. Now you start doing some different worldly things, and then all of a sudden you turn into somebody you don't recognize. So then by your early 20s, 30s, you go through another identity crisis. And then I realized, what has been the one constant my entire life, even though my education started at 18 and then forwarded all the way until I was about 27, 28, 29. Where did I split? It was the split when I decided, thanks God, not right now. Temporary fixing. But God, my entire life, or Jesus, a relationship with Jesus Christ and God, understanding the difference and bringing them both into my relationship. I've been doing that since I was a little kid, helping in women's ministry with mom, doing arts and crafts days at church, having youth group over at night, after church, ice cream socials, things like that. Always been trained to kind of integrate behavior with church people, right? Then by adulthood, I just kind of went, nah, okay. So after divorce, after I started opening Red Shoe, I just really wanted to learn what my source of truth was. And I remember I learned it in college, that word, epistemology, where my source of truth comes from. My source of truth has always come from a biblical teaching. The end. I read other books and I listen to other podcasts now, and I believe certain things, and I love oils and fun elements of the earth. I love that stuff, but I'm not split anymore. It's more of who I am. And when I was splitting was, I don't know who I am, but I'm going to figure it out. And then certain things by Red Shoe was designed to make sure I figured out who I am, because it looked like it was connected, but they weren't, see. And that happens a lot to a lot of us. It looks the same, only different. It's exactly the same. It's the same color, same size. It's just not the same. It looks like a therapy group, but it looks like a church, and it acts like, a day spa. And people were confused, and I was getting sick and tired of it. And finally I asked the Lord, what do you want? And he goes, oh, by the way, you have cancer. And that's when I decided to stop splitting the mind, body, spirit. Actually, it's not 2 ways. No, it was 3 ways. One head, one body, and a spirit that was just like, can we figure this out, please? Okay. And so God said, hi, by the way, you have a rare form of cancer. There's no data on you. And by the way, you're rare. And I was like, no, duh. We all believe that about the Lord too, don't we? We are uniquely special. It says that. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay, so when I put it together, the integration was, I teach body, spirit. I teach the Bible as a behavioral science book. Therefore, I get to talk about Jesus, my science, my psychology, my family problems, your family problems, our issues, your finances, tithing. I mean, we can talk about anything. Whatever you want to pick, we can talk about nothing and just watch Netflix or watch The Crown. And that to me is God, because Jesus was that kind of friend. He was near. I can do that. I coming near. And so the integration, that word of no more splitting, integrating, brushing my teeth and praising Jesus, combing my hair and realizing I'm preparing for this time to speak for you, talking about little things, what I would want to say to myself tonight, which is, I'm glad, Dawn, you got out of bed for such a time as this. That's the integration portion that I actually, back to what Augustine was addressing, nonprofit, the integration of also understanding soul prop and non-prop and blending. So I have a program, it's called Employee Assistance Programs. So I go into restaurants and things and talk to them and talk to their employees to give them a mental health presence. Just like what Jesus did, huh? He was so intrusive. He would go into people's towns and go, hi, Don. By the way, I just want to let you know I'm hungry. It's like dinner time and I'm going to spend the night at your house. Like, that's intrusive behavior for friends. But I know lots of people that do it. And so at this time, I allow people to come to me when they're ready to be kind of integrated or told that they're normal. These are normal things for menopause. These are normal things for a man to feel. These are normal things for a child at 5 to feel. You know, daddy and mommy are getting a divorce. Compassion. And so that's how I integrated it, was having my own understanding towards it and trusting God with the thoughts about it, and then doing my love language, which was show up and just be quality time about it instead of what am I doing? Just quality time about it. So,
Thank
does that
you.
answer you?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, keep doing it. Call me. We'll figure it out. I'll text you. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have time for maybe one more question before we wrap it up. Is there anyone else that wants to make a comment or ask their question? Any burning questions?
Burning question. I don't burning. Let's see. Where are you guys all from? Are you all from here?
Coachella Valley. Beach
Mhm.
City.
Yeah, you know what I did recently in August? I did a thing I never do. I rented an Airbnb out in Yucca Valley. Kudos to Yucca Valley. Okay. But if you're out there,
Lots of people.
this, I know, it's a thing. And there's mountains, and then it's the deadest quiet you could ever find. And I didn't know I liked it. And once I went there, because I'm a person that does okay with a lot of sound for now, but be quiet after a certain time too. Now, it's quiet there all the time. And I asked God, what are you doing to me? You're driving me crazy. And he said, this is what it feels like to be at peace. I was like, but I'm not very peaceful. He goes, I don't care. This is what it sounds like. Okay. Practical in the moment things that happen in your home, the settings, the lighting. You have control of that now to help your mental health and emotional state right now. Turn the lights down, that LED, those LED lights from the 99-cent store. I know they work, they're good and all that, but put a pretty shade or something that dims the stimulus of your eyes at night. Because in the Bible, it says, it is time for a woman and a man to close the house down after sundown. It doesn't mean it has to be on the Sabbath. Woman, light the candle, man. Get your grooves on, put your comfy pants on after work, or retired people, relax, watch some Hannity, like do some stuff to set the tone of your home. It is very, very important that when you're ready to go to call to action, and your house is not such a hot mess as you're bolting out the door, no matter what age you are. Okay. Chaos begets chaos.
Definitely.
Yes.
We're a minute over. I think we have to go. Emma tells me with her sweet little smile.
I'm trying. It's my first time moderating.
You're doing great.
Keeping us on the dot, but
You're doing
thank
great.
you again so much, Dawn McJoy. And if anyone wants to follow her or get that information down before we end the call, it's in the chat. And then I don't know, Angelica, if we have our information, but if not, follow us on Instagram. We have all of our postings for our virtual cafes, and then all our upcoming events or other events that are not from us personally, but that we are blasting out, just resources. So feel free to follow us and stay in touch.
Thank
Be
you.
blessed. I do love you all. I appreciate the smiles. You have brought me such joy. I'm grateful for you and have a blessed Thanksgiving, my friends.
Thank you, Don.
Yes,
Thank you
have a
for
great
coming
day.
tonight.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
You.
Thank you so much.